Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we got some news: a movie extending the Game of Thrones franchise, based on the hugely popular fantasy books by George R.R. Martin, is in very early development at Warner Brothers. Sources have confirmed to Deadline. Warner Brothers declined to comment. From what we hear, there have only been preliminary discussions on the subject of a Game of Thrones movie for now, so there are no creative attachments to speak of. It's also unclear what creative direction a film would take in comparison to the HBO series, which adapted Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire book series. News of the potential project comes 5 years following the conclusion of the David Benioff and D.B. Weiss-created Game of Thrones, which brought forth huge viewership and ample accolades for the premium cabler, including 59 Emmys. A cultural phenomenon running for 8 seasons between 2011 and 2019, the show traverses the continents of Westeros and Essos, weaving political intrigue, ancient magic, and brutal warfare as noble families vie for the Iron Throne. Despite a divisive final season, the show's success has led to spin-offs, including prequel House of the Dragon, from creators Ryan Condal and Martin, which returned for its second season over the summer and has been renewed for a third. The next Game of Thrones-related series coming to screens is A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, another prequel based on Martin's tales of Dunk and Egg novellas, which is expected to premiere sometime next year. While HBO/Max has canceled a number of Game of Thrones spin-offs, is currently airing one, and has others about to release or in development. Now, it appears the series is heading to theaters. In an unexpected turn, THR is reporting that at least one film set in the Song of Ice and Fire universe is being quietly developed. The problem is the film has no director, no writer, and no cast. So more or less it's someone going, we should make a Game of Thrones movie, I guess. Though it seems likely to happen in the context of the current media market and state of the franchise. This is not the first time this idea has come up. Originally, Game of Thrones showrunners David Benioff and D.B. Weiss wanted to end the show with 3 movies instead of its terrible, it turns out, finale season. George R.R. Martin has also been talking about a potential Thrones movie for a decade, but WB didn't bite, wanting to keep things on TV. That may be changing now. The biggest question is what it would cover. Every single Game of Thrones spin-off in production right now is a prequel to the events of the original show, set dozens or hundreds of years before the series. The only sequel series, a Jon Snow show being pitched by Kit Harington, was canceled. My gut tells me this might be the way that WB tries to move past the hated ending of the series and bring some or most of its core characters back to the big screens for a movie or 3, as no doubt that would be a big box office draw. While there were many deaths in the final season, essentially the entire remaining Stark clan survived: Jon, Arya, Sansa, and who has a better story than Bran the Broken, as did Tyrion Lannister. It is also possible Martin himself could be involved to shape everything if it would allow him an excuse not to write Winds of Winter. This idea would almost certainly be a big hit. I think the only thing comparable would be Lord of the Rings as a high-profile fantasy series. The box office returns on those, given that nearly all of those movies almost hit $1 billion in revenue, and a couple of them actually did, it stands to reason that Game of Thrones, as the next most popular fantasy series, possibly ever, could get somewhere at least close to that, meaning a giant budget wouldn't matter. It's very easy to see why WB might want to make this happen, and again, I do believe it would be a return to the original cast, albeit there is no actual evidence of that here in the early stages. We'll see. Thanks for watching.
Your thoughts on the potential of this movie in the comments below.